What's going on, Conscious Crew? It's your favorite breakdown commentator. Welcome to another riveting episode of the Consciouztv platform. You already know what we're here to talk about. Before we do so, please run the likes up. Likes don't cost you nothing. It's free $99, and we need all of that because you guys know that YouTube be playing on our head tops heavy when it comes to the likes. So we need you to like the video, because not only does liking the video help with YouTube's algorithm, more importantly, it sends out and boosts YouTube's notification system. So when you are thumbing up the video, you are literally knocking on the digital door of another Conscious crew member and telling them to get their black asses into the sanctuary. All right, so run those likes all the way up. Also, if you love everything that the King does here, you can also donate to the platform, $Consciouztv on Cash App and or paypal.me/ConsciouzTV. Conscious spelled with the Z on the end, just how it is here on the platform. All handles are in the description box below. Make sure that you have your notification bell set to all. And last but not least, please share the stream out to wherever it is you have digital community, whether that be a YouTube community wall, your Snapchat, your MySpace, dark side of Twitter, Tumblr, or your personal OF. I don't really give a damn where you, in fact, lay the link. Just let them whores know that we're loud, we're live, and we're certainly in color. And with no further ado, let's go ahead and push on through.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Happy Tuesday. Let me speak to the Conscious crew in the building. What's going on, Shauna? Hey, Carolyn. Hey, Tanika. Hey, Marsha. Hey, Ian Gardner. What's going on, JH? Hey, it's gotta be Destiny. Good to see you, boo. Hey, love. What's going on, Sin? Hey, ho. I have not spoken about that. I typically don't speak about real life devastation like that, but I did see that story, and I might get included in my next hot topics. I do have another hot topics geared up that I was going to bring to you guys yesterday, but I got tied up in some things. But I could throw that on the docket, and we'll probably be back again before the day is out, and I can get into that. What's going on, Kimani? Hey, Trey, off working on time, on period, Trey. What's going on, Keeny? Hey, Keita. Hey, St. Marquise. What's going on, Lauren? Hey, Alex. What's going on, Namdi? What's going on, Ashley? What's going on, Miss Queen's Baka? Hey, boo. All right, you guys. So you guys know we came on yesterday, girl, to get into this explosive season 12, episode 11, episode of The Basketball Wives. Miss Jackie Christie and her eldest daughter, Chantel, came to physical blows, girl. I'm talking about nut and buck. Mamas were thrown up against the wall. Daughters were punched in the face and flying past the camera crew, girl. Jackie had to hit her daughter with the power of damn Zeus and Thor, girl. It was a whole entire mess. Now, you guys know we had a bit of a town hall meeting as well, but because we were playing some of the clips that were circulating on the blogs, Miss Viacom did a copyright claim on that footage. So my live stream ended up getting suspended, even though we got it back. But then after the live stream was done, you know, they had like blocked the viewership of that video in the United States, that is. So if you live in Ireland, you live in Nigeria, if you over in Dubai, if you over in Asia, you have access to that live stream, but nobody in the United States does. It's partially blocked, aka in the United States, but it's still available if you live elsewhere in the world. So we have all of our international Conscious crew members who are able to comment on that video and see that live stream, but you all who are here with me on homeland do not have access to that stream. I mean, I can see it on my end, but y'all can't see it on y'all. Y'all can't interact with it, etc. with y'all. So we're not going to be able to play no footage because I don't need to be dealing with Miss Viacom, child. And I really don't know what the hypocrisy of it is, girl. Y'all got the blogs, you know, playing clips, but we can't play the same clips that the blogs are playing on our live streams on YouTube. That don't make no sense. But I ain't got time to argue with that. So we're just going to be referencing screenshots, okay? And pictures rather than footage. So shout out to my boo, So Deb, because he came through as well to give us a 1-2-1-2 on the episode. But this is what happened here, Chai. Y'all see this? My God, today. This is what happened, Chai. Jackie punched the out of her eldest daughter, Chantel. Okay? Now, courtesy of So Debonair, we were able to get the backstory, okay? So you guys know that Jackie has had a very, very, very troubled and estranged relationship to both of her daughters, Chantel, who is the eldest here, and her other daughter, Takari, who is from a previous relationship, okay? Takari is dark-skinned, and she's on the big-boned side. Chantel is, as you guys can see here, she's on the light-skinned, fine, straight hair side, etc. And it came out through Basketball Wives that Takari was treated differently by Jackie. That Chantel, the light-skinned daughter here, was kind of put on a pedestal. She was looked as the golden child. She was looked at as the successor to Jackie. I don't know if the fact that Chantel also is a byproduct of Jackie and Doug's relationship, that this makes Jackie even more biased and proud of Chantel versus Takari, who seems to have been thrown away. Takari wrote a tell-all book. Evelyn has attempted to weaponize that information against Jackie on previous seasons. You guys know Chantel had entered the group chat on Basketball Wives a few seasons ago when Jackie was beefing with Gloria, who was Shaquille O'Neal's mistress, allegedly, child, okay? She was dealing with Shaquille O'Neal when he was still married to Shaunie O'Neal, child. And when Gloria and Jackie began to have some social issues, Gloria was able to get a hold of Chantel, who also told her that she had another sibling, a younger sibling, who was put through all of these torture experiences growing up. Jackie was making Takari run on treadmills at like 5 and 6 and just treated her like a throwaway, that she pitted her and her sister against each other. Girl, she just spilled all the deeds to Miss Gloria, child, okay? Then we saw Chantel enter the group chat again when Jackie needed a storyline against Drea, who was dating a young man who Chantel delusionally believes she had some type of romantic ties to because he said hi to her at a party, child. The delusions of it all right? Now, fast forward, Chantel is a main cast member on season 12 of Basketball Wives. And to make a long story short, she's not a fan favorite. Since she's been on the show, people have hated Chantel. They cannot stand Chantel. They feel like she came on to sabotage her mother. They feel like she came on to make her mom look bad. And you guys know that as messy and dramatic and bipolar and schizo as Jackie is, ultimately she's an OG. So she kind of has seniority privilege when it comes to viewers. And a lot of the fans have pretty much testified that Jackie is really the only thing that's been holding Basketball Wives together since Tammy has left, because if nobody brings the comedy factor and the dramatic factor and the pop culture factors, it's going to be Jackie Christie, baby, who brings all of those golden moments to our television screens. So Chantel has not been well received. The viewers feel like she seemingly always sides with the girls when it comes to her mom. That looks bizarre to people. even though people know that Chantel and Jackie have a very troubled and tumultuous relationship, they just feel like still at the end of the day, you have a job and you're able to receive clout because of a space that your mom has carved out, and you should reasonably show her some grace and show her some respect and have her back, because for one, I mean, she is your mom, for God's sakes, and for two, you're really coming on to her shit. So bow down, kiss the ring, give me a little bit humbled, Chantel. Okay? Well, things have culminated because, as I learned from So Dev last night, Chantel's storyline this season was attempting to fix the brokenness between her and her mother. So all season long, apparently, because I have not watched the season, I've only been seeing the previews and the clips from episodes, etc. I've been stopped watching Housewives. I've been stopped watching Basketball Wives. I've grown out of all of that stuff. So it's been years since I have watched either, any of these type of reality shows. But So Debonair, who reviews the shows, you guys can find him on Instagram and YouTube. So Deb, okay, on YouTube and Instagram. He shared with us that Chantel has been trying to get her mom to sit down to talk through their venomous relationship. Apparently, Jackie has been largely disinterested in that sit down. She has found all kind of ways to deflect, to escape, to leave, to move the fuck around. And it all culminated in last night's episode when there was a dinner that all of the girls were supposed to attend. Jackie and her daughter Chantel attempted to sit down and kind of speak once again about, what has happened between them, how to move forward. That conversation didn't go well. Jackie got up once again and left. And then after the dinner took place, another castmate, I think it's one of the lesbians on the show, had attempted to go and speak to Jackie about, really trying to work things out with Chantel for family's sake, for God's sake. So Chantel went to her mother's room for a second round to see if they could have what she would call a civil conversation. That ended up in both of them talking match to each other and Chantel getting up to attempt to leave. And as she's leaving, Jackie is talking match on her way out the door. This causes Chantel to bust a U-turn from the door and come back down toward where Jackie is to talk shit. So Jackie decides to get up off of her couch and to help Chantel toward the door. So she kindly grabs Chantel by the bicep to formally escort her to the hotel door. This was followed by Chantel pushing Jackie into the wall and telling Jackie, don't put your fucking hands on me. This resulted in Jackie putting all her goddamn fingers on Chantel's face and sucking the shit out of her ass. Producer, security, all jump in. Chantel is trying to get her blows in with her miniature a pocketbook, girl. She's swinging over the shoulder. She hitting security in the head with the pocketbook. She throwing saxophones and toilet tissue at Jackie. And, it's a whole damn mess. Chantel then finally makes it back down to where the girls are, shows them that she has a broken fingernail. She's bleeding and tells them that her mom just put her hands on her. All right. Now, a lot of y'all, because I didn't see it either, okay? I thought that Chantel initially was the one that had put her hands on Jackie first, and then she ran down there to the girls to play Karen. However, So Deb had presented a screenshot, okay, where you can clearly see that Jackie definitely... Hold on, let me find the screenshot, child. Jackie was Oh, damn, do I got it? Hold on, do I got it? Is this it? Yep, okay, here it is. Where Jackie was the one who put her hands on Chantel first, okay? I could not see this based upon how fast the scene was moving and being edited, but she did grab Chantel first. This is what warranted Chantel to push Jackie into the wall, okay? So as you got to see here, look at Jackie's hand, okay? She grabbed Chantel by the upper bicep. Now, of course, right, when Jackie grabbed Chantel, it wasn't in an act of trying to be violent. It wasn't like she pushed Chantel. It wasn't like she slapped or scratched or pinched Chantel. You know, she just kindly grabbed her by the bicep to help her to find her way back to the door she was already on her way to. However, as I said last night, here's the thing. When things are popping off and you're in a heated moment, the low intelligent thing to do is to touch the other person. You just don't want to do that. I understand why Jackie thought she could touch Chantel even though they're having this heated exchange, because at the end of the day, Jackie knew she was not trying to harm her daughter. She knew she wasn't trying to be per se physically violent toward her daughter, and she still saw Chantel as her daughter. So she was not expecting Chantel to receive, you know, her trying to kindly grab her by the arm and, you know, walk her to the door as an act of aggression. However, as I also said last night, because Chantel doesn't see Jackie as her mother, she only sees Jackie as her carrier, that line of respect isn't going to be there. Because their relationship is fragile, their relationship is agitated because of unhealed childhood trauma, because of unresolved issues between Chantel and Jackie, the typical respect and honor is not going to be there. Because the relationship is broken and has been broken forever, this is what permits Chantel to be able to talk to Jackie like another hoe on the street, instead of honoring Jackie as her mother, because Jackie did not mother Chantel. She only carried Chantel. And that's the nuance and the difference between being a parent and being a carrier. Anybody can be a carrier, okay? All dads don't father, and all moms don't mother. Mothering and fathering is a distinct behavior and role that encompasses the nurturing and the love and the protectiveness that come by way of parenting. Okay, so a lot of people have had carriers sitting in their house but did not have parents. Okay, that's why a lot of these young people are out of control. That's why a lot of these adults have a lot of childhood trauma, because they had carriers. They did not have actual parents. Okay, lots of people have had the experience of having dad in the house, but dad was completely emotionally unavailable to his children. He was a workhorse and he was a provider, and that was about it. He did no nurturing. He did no coddling. He never gave his heart to his children. He was just an object in the family. Okay? Depending on how toe up the mama is, it could be the same way. Mom is emotionally unavailable due to her own scarring, her own life trauma, her own addictions, her own personal issues, never gave her heart to her children. So all carriers are not parents. All right? Parents and parenting is a distinct function. So because of that, there was going to be no room for Jackie to be able to even kindly put her hands on her daughters with the intent to just escort her to the door without it coming to blows. All right? Now, the big old question here is, who's right and who's wrong? Hey, bougie bitch. Hey, boo. Both Chantel and Jackie are wrong when just talking about the fight in an isolated fashion. But we're going to get into a lot of things before we get up out of here, okay? In terms of the fight itself, both people contributed to the fight, okay? Jackie, as the mom, I got to hold her responsible first and foremost, because heavy is the head that wears the crown. She's the elder in the situation. She's the mother in the situation. Jackie should have totally de-escalated. And if Jackie was a mother, not a carrier. If she was a mother, she would have had the power and the authority to de-escalate and to restrain herself. But because Jackie is a personality B type individual, more than likely on the narcissistic spectrum, if not full-blown narcissistic, this is what handicaps her in terms of being a mother. So of course, she could not miss an opportunity to allow her ego to take over in the moment that her higher mind and her femininity and her wisdom should be taken over. Jackie should have just gone to another room until Chantel left. Or if Chantel couldn't make her way to the door, Jackie should have made her way to the door and left the room. If that would have meant avoiding a situation getting uglier than what it already was. Okay? Chantel is now a grown-ass woman. She's not a preteen. She's not an 18-year-old. She's no longer in her early 20s. She is now someone's wife, and she's now someone's mother. Also, should have not continued to be provocative in a situation that was already going down the shitter. Okay? Once she had decided, when her ass was still sitting down, that this conversation is over and we're going to get nowhere, and she proceeded to make her way to the goddamn door, she should have completed her journey to the front door instead of continuing to lend her ear to what her mama's saying across the room and then use that to double back around. Had Chantel successfully made her way to the door the first time, she would have avoided an ass whipping. Okay? So the both of them played their immature role in what culminated between them on that fateful day. Okay? All right. Now, here's the thing. Because there's a lot going on in the situation. Since this fight has aired, Takari, the estranged, dark-skinned daughter, has entered the group chat, child. And she had this to say to the physical fight between her oldest sister and their mother. Okay? Takari writes, Chantel doesn't even know our mom. If she did, she would only try to protect her. She didn't deserve to be done like this on her platform. That's all I have to say about this. Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm a little shocked by this statement. I don't know whether Takari is suffering from Stockholm Syndrome, because on one hand, you also got your own issues with the same woman. You did not protect her either by telling all of her tea in your tell-all book, which we're going to get to here. Okay? Because that tell-all book is titled Light to Her Shadow. So, were you not also not protecting your mother when you decided to speak to the entire world and to chronicle your upbringing and your relationship to your mom in your own autobiographical daughter? Jackie is not on your side, grandniece. Jackie would have never protected you. She would have never came to your aid. And if anything, Takari, sometimes it's best to just let the Lord work, baby. This is not an opportunity and a time for you to be super saber-ho to the person that authored all of this confusion between you and your sister, between you, your sister, and y'all's dad. This isn't an opportunity, baby. Let the Lord work. Sometimes, baby, when you see fire coming down upon Sodom and Gomorrah, girl, you got to just sit back, baby, and let the Lord work, girl. Let the Lord work. Okay? I don't know why Takari is seemingly jumping into this. I know that there's been some contention between Takari and Chantel as well as the season has played out. We know that Takari made claims that Chantel and Jackie are exploiting her. They're exploiting her lived experience. She wanted it to be put to an end. But I do not recall Takari saying this to Evelyn, who was attempting to also exploit Takari's story and weaponize it against Jackie out of being petty. So there's a lot of like selectiveness going on when it comes to Takari. I know Takari got some issues and everything, so I'm gonna give her some grace because her issues probably play into, like, she got some mental issues. They probably play into why she kind of is selective and kind of misfires, and she kind of ain't reading the room a little bit, child. But also things got really dark when Chantel responded to Takari claiming that Chantel was exploiting her life story to get at Jackie, that Chantel was being an imposter, and that she was really taking what happened to Takari and acting like it was her actual experience. So in response to that, Chantel had wrote on her now infamous post on social media, she said this to Takari: I made a general statement highlighting the fact that all three of us, in terms of all of their siblings, it's Takari, Chantel, and their brother, have had our bad feelings about her. Whatever those feelings may be, nobody mentioned you by name, nor do I care to speak on your experience. You wrote a whole book about it. Now here you are with a screenshot from 2017 with no context. You want to tell these people why I went no contact with you? Was it because you were asking me to send you money when my now 8-year-old was only a few days old? No care or consideration for the horrific birthing experience I just had? Or maybe it was because you used to molest me under the guise of playing house. I'm sure you remember all of those times because I do. So I dare you to say I'm lying. I can keep going because I'm 32 with kids of my own now, and I will lay everybody's ish bare. Find you something safe to do. All right? Brittany Renner jumps in and Takari responds. Now, mind you, Brittany Renner has been accused of also adding fuel to this fire between Chantel and Jackie. She's been an instigator, and Brandy kind of called it down the middle and said, look, I think that Brittany is projecting her own mommy issues onto Jackie, and Brandy doesn't feel that that's fair to Jackie. I'm going to say it's also not fair to Chantel, okay? But this is what Brittany had to say. As if the situation wasn't messy enough, fellow Basketball Wives LA co-star Brittany Renner decided to jump into the fray. She called out Takari for turning off comments on Instagram. In one post to Brittany's IG story, she said, quote, turn the comments back on, sis. And she asked Takari. In the next post, Brittany commented, quote, I'll be waiting, as she shared a screenshot from what Takari shared in her own IG story regarding her sister. Takari didn't leave this alone. However, she shared a video in response saying that she won't respond to Brittany here. Instead, she would respond in a courtroom. Okay? Quote, hi, Ms. Renner. I just want to let you know what you're waiting for are court documents. I definitely won't be addressing a witch like that here. Bye. Gathered, baby. Headshots after headshots after headshots. Girl, this is terrible. Wow. Y'all, I didn't even know all this was going on, child. I've been so checked out of the Basketball Wives universe, okay? Now, getting back to Takari, Chantel, and Jackie, okay? I have not read this book called Light to Her Shadow, but VH1 gave us some excerpts, okay, from the book. Now, I'm going to see if I can find some other excerpts online because, VH1 had to play that fine line because, Jackie is an employee of VH1 and Viacom, so they couldn't do her in, but they also wanted to be messy enough to kind of highlight some things that were in this book. But I'm sure the highlights are probably worse than what VH1 chronicled. Either way, VH1 said this. Takari Lee's strained relationship with her mother, Jackie Christie, became a topic of conversation amongst the women this season of Basketball Wives, and while snippets of her forthcoming tell-all book were teased, we had to know what the young woman wrote about growing up with Jackie as a mom. The memoir, entitled Like Her Shadow, chronicles the eldest Christie child's upbringing with her grandmother, her battle with depression and cutting motherhood, and of course, her relationship with her famous mother. Reread Takari's book, here are 5 things we learned. Takari says that she was mostly raised by her grandmother, Cora. Takari opens up in her book about her very close relationship with Jackie's mother, Cora, who she calls a family legend. Takari alleges that while her mother was in her life, her primary caretaker was always her maternal grandmother. Takari writes that a lot of her issues with her mother stem from how her mom portrayed her grandmother in the media. Wow. Okay, so Takari has taken Jackie's experience of her mother personally, because she's very close to her grandmother and loves her grandmother and feels away. Now, I'm going to say this about Takari. She needs to fall back up out of that, because 2 things can be true at once. Cora could be whoever she is to Takari: sweet, loving, protective, giving, charitable, compassionate, kind, etc., but could have been a raging narcissistic maniac to Jackie. And the reality is, Jackie's personality is not birthed in a vacuum. It came from somewhere. And more than likely, it came from her own upbringing as well. Most narcissists are raised by narcissists. So all the things that Jackie is also a result of who either her mother and father were, or who Jackie's mother and father were not. Most people in this live stream probably can attest to the fact that, damn, y'all mom and y'all dads made for better grandparents than they did parents. You're watching your parents give your kids everything that they didn't give your ass as a child. They open, they understanding, they merciful, they verbally affectionate, they emotionally available. All the things they were not when your ass was growing up under their household. They were stoic, they were controlling, they were closed-minded and stiff. Now all of a sudden, baby, the grandbaby son came into play, baby, and they sweet as apple damn pie, and now you look crazy when you go to talk about your experience of grandma, aka your mama, because your grandkids like, what you talking about? Not my sweet grandma, bitch, you crazy. Not my sweet grandpa Lou, you crazy, nigga. Okay? Now, the reason why that is, right, the reason why most problematic parents eventually make for great grandparents is because they've already been tried and tested and have gone through the parenting experience themselves. By the time the grandkids come into the grandparents' life, the grandparents have not only had their kids, mostly raised all their kids to be adults, they've had time to also be introspective. They've had time to do I would have did this, that, and the third differently. So by the time the grandkids are born, they give that refined version of themselves to the grandkids. Okay? Because like the old saying goes, most parents, no parent has, a perfect handbook of how to do this. Most parents are completely inexperienced when they're having kids, and all they know how to do is mirror how they were raised as a formula to how to raise their own kids, whether that formula works or doesn't work. Okay? So yes, the grandkids always mostly inherit a better version of your parents than you had from them. Okay? So because of this, Takari needs to sit the fuck down. Okay? Just because grandmother may be sweet as apple pie to you does not mean that she wasn't hell to deal with when it came to Jackie. Okay? Your experience of Cora as a grandmother could be night and day to Cora as a mother, to Corey as a wife, to Cora as a sister, to Cora as a homegirl. These are all very different roles, baby, that bring out very different behaviors in people. Okay? So You know, your husband can make a great husband and can make a terrible lover. Your wife can make a great lover and companion and make a horrible mother. You know, your best friend could make a great best friend and be a horrible motherfucking nigga. He a cheater, he a liar, he run them streets, he a deceiver. You know, like, people are compartmentalized like that. Okay? So, Takari, fall back, boo. Okay, but let's continue to read, child. Takari writes that a lot of her issues with her mother stem from how her mom portrayed her grandmother in the media. The young writer says that while Cora did have a long battle with cancer, that there were good days that Jackie didn't get to see because she was too busy. Quote, she had lots and lots of good days while my mother was filming her show, but she only chose to film my grandmother on her really bad days. Takara goes on to allege that Cora was still taking care of her brother, Dougie Jr. at the time. So Cora, the grandmother, was also taking care of both of Jackie's kids, the son and Takari. So really, Takari and Doug kind of, I guess, Doug Jr. kind of came up together. I don't know how old is Dougie Jr. Hold on, let me see. Let me look this up. Hold on, let me see the age difference. How old is Dougie? Dougie Jr. Let me see. Oh, hold on. Dougie Jr. Dougie. Is his last name Christie too? I don't know. Dougie Christie, his birthday is what he did before his fame. I can't even find out. Do y'all know how old Dougie Jr. is? Does anybody know? I can't even find nothing, child. Okay, anyway, so it's in all there. Takari has battled with depression and other health issues. Takari shares that she has a speech impediment triggered from being 70% deaf in her left ear and 30% deaf in her right. Wow. She cites her speech impediment as a reason she struggled communicating with her mother. Later in Light to Her Shadow, Takari opens up about struggling with depression off and on throughout the year. She even says she cut herself. She writes, quote, as depressed as I was, everything was a trigger for me to start cutting. Takari says that she wrote multiple suicide letters and had multiple psych evaluations as a result. Takari appeared on Basketball Wives LA for counseling, but claims that Jackie derailed the shoot. Takari talks about her appearance on Basketball Wives LA Season 2 and says that she was excited to address some of the turmoil in her relationship, but that it took a different turn. Takari alleges that Jackie tried to coach she and her sister Chantel on how to behave on camera. The elder Christie writes that, quote, Jackie tried to orchestrate the whole scene, but when my sister and I didn't comply with what she wanted to happen, she shut production down by starting to act like a diva on set. Takari says she was disappointed that she didn't really get anything out of the family therapy session. Okay, and we're actually seeing that play out even in Chantel's attempts on this season to have that difficult, hard edge conversation with Jackie. Jackie continues to leave the conversation abruptly. She's trying to move the goalposts. Oh, let's do it on my YouTube. Let's do it on my talk show. I'm not going to do it here. All of that is a way to just deflect and to temporarily suspend this conversation that Chantel won't let up on. Okay, so we're seeing that play out even now. Takari says that she is not jealous of Chantel. Takari talks in detail about her relationship with her younger sister Chantel. Okay, so Chantel is the youngest one. Takari is the oldest one. Okay, got it. And says that she feels her mother has portrayed her as being jealous of Chantel's looks, but says that that's far from the truth. She writes, quote, I think my sister is one of the most beautiful women I know, and asks why in the world would she be mad at the way God put her sister together. Takari claims that Jackie was always resentful of Takari's appearance and projected that onto her. Takari describes her growing up. Takari describes her up and down relationship with her sister over the years, describing Chantel as a frequent ally, but also being pit against. She writes that Chantel was a family member she contacted when her son was badly burnt. Takari candidly discusses the infamous apple cider vinegar and her weight. Takari says that she struggled with her weight as a young person and was often put on diets and forced to exercise, and that's what Chantel shared with Gloria. She writes in her book that she was made to drink a nasty miracle mix of apple cider vinegar daily. Quote, I thought apple cider vinegar was the new apple juice, she continued. I was expected to drink 4 to 5 to 8 ounce bottles of apple cider vinegar a day. Wow. This is Takari's truth, and certainly Jackie has her own truth. We hope that the mother and daughter can come to an understanding to move forward for whatever is best for them and their family. All right, you guys, please run the likes up, child. Okay, he's 24, got it. Okay, so he's the youngest. So there's a lot here. We have allegations of molestation, childhood abuse, fat shaming, narcissism, narcissistic triangulating, parental narcissism. This is a show. So this is what I want to say. Uh-oh, I done spilt my damn thing. All of these people, as I said yesterday, need to seek healing individually first. I have now come to be completely aware that we have to heal first before we can heal a relationship to a third party. We have to be healed first before we can even have a productive conversation with the opposite party or with the opposing party or with the other. The reason why a lot of these type of hard conversations don't go well, no matter how well-intended both parties are or one person is because difficult conversation is an art form. And when you haven't healed, there's going to be a difference in what was said and what you heard. Because what you're going to be hearing is going to be coming through the lens of your own trauma. It's going to be heard through the lens and the filter system of your own biases and of your own personal injuries and pain body. So that's largely who's sitting down in the conversation is the hurt version of each person. This is why these family talks, these personal one-offs, they oftentimes do not go well. They always end up going completely left, and all parties end up more injured as a result of the conversation than healed. And it's because people are taking their hurt into the conversation rather than the healed version of themselves into that conversation. These are not conversations that also people can have alone. When it comes to dealing with a lot of deep issues and a lot of personal injuries and childhood trauma, when the issues are definitely, so deep, these are not shallow issues, these are not immature issues, this is some deep shit. You need a therapist. You need somebody well-trained. And I ain't talking about somebody that loves the both of y'all. Baby, you need somebody who's trained in the art of dialogue, the art of psychology. Because once again, productive, hard conversations are an art form. And having the best intent does not hold its weight. Because once you get into that conversation and a person starts giving you their experience, you begin to feel like the bad guy, you begin to feel like the villain, etc. It becomes a shit show because once again, who you're sitting down as in that conversation, trying to have that difficult conversation, is not the healed version of you. It's the hurt version of you. And that's who's hearing the conversation. That's who's filtering the conversation. So I knew this conversation wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to be productive. And I was surprised that Chantel really thought that the mother, who she believes is a egomaniac, is going to allow her to back her into a corner on national television and get her to admit that essentially she's a piece of shit. Chantel had to know that, of course, that was never going to happen if she knows anything at all about her mother. If y'all weren't able to productively have this healing conversation privately, how in the hell were y'all going to have it out loud before the world? Because Jackie, as the unhealed narcissistic parent, definitely doesn't think there's any redeeming quality in allowing all of her demons to be aired out on national television. She already got one daughter who done did a damn tell-all. And she can't even reconcile that or even speak to that in a meaningful way. She just has to avoid that as well. So I don't know why Chantel thought this was going to be the case, why she was going to get anything meaningful out of Jackie. And with that being said, I can't believe that Shaunie O'Neal, Miss First Lady, did not step in before the season even got to rolling, or once she became abundantly informed that a lot of the stuff was coming up during filming, that she didn't step in with her new Christianhood, with her new Christian wisdom, and why she didn't assert her authority as someone who's now supposed to be on a higher vibration, as a woman who's representing the Lord and the Lord's house and the Lord's ways and the ways of Christ. Why Shaunie did not step in and say, look, child, this is reality TV, y'all. And I have respect for you, Jackie, and respect for your daughter, but this is what we're not going to do. And we're not going to do this here. I'm not going to allow y'all to run it and to run that play on this show. This is really real, and this needs to be dealt with in a space that's sacred and in a space where you both can be dignified and you both can bleed out and you both can deal with y'all's issues first and foremost in the dignified space of privacy, and then y'all can allow the results of that to play out on the show. But I'm not going to allow y'all to add gasoline to the fire, because allowing this to play out through reality TV is not going to make any of this better than what it is. I cannot believe that Miss First Lady Shaunie O'Neal is not drawing the line at some of this, considering who she's cosplaying as these days. Because as entertaining as this is on the low vibrational scale, it's also tragic. It's disgusting and it's heart-wrenching to watch this between Chantel and Jackie, because these are real issues. This is real pain. And it's old and ancient pain. This pain was here long before A Basketball Wives, long before Jackie and Doug. I'm surprised that Shaunie is not getting behind the wheel of this thing and putting some meaningful direction behind this thing, even if it is sitting down with Jackie and explaining to her the way she needs to posture herself toward her children as it relates to their pain and their experience. This is who Shaunie has the opportunity to be, as somebody who got on a few seasons of Basketball Wives ago and sat down with her mentor and said that the show has gone in a direction she is ashamed of. The show was never supposed to become baddies. The show was never supposed to become the Bad Girls Club. The show has hit an all-time low. Y'all remember a few seasons ago, that's when Shaunie was still bald-headed and was claiming that, she was considering, canceling the show because this is not what she initially envisioned, but has allowed capitalism to pull the train forward in the direction that it's continuing to go in, with no meaningful direction or contribution from Shaunie O'Neal, who has the authority to really shape this show in a way that can be powerful, in a way that can be informative, and in a way that can also be fun and not petty, without the super exploitation of people's personal lives, etc. And it's a shame that Shaunie is still ultimately nowhere to be found as she sits over in a mega church and cares for and nurtures and nests the women there, but can't even nurture and nest the women who she helps to get paid. It's giving very Madame to Hoe dynamic. It's giving very much so Pimp to Hoe Chronicles. Like the fact that Shaunie O'Neal is literally somewhere dressed like the damn Virgin Mary, while these damn hoodlums and heathens are on her show, girl, cut the damn fool, girl. It's giving Pimp to Hoe. I look at the Basketball Wives now as Shaunie's hoes, and they running amok in the whorehouse. Girl, come get your whores in check, Shaunie. Girl, do something Christian, girl. Do something Christian, girl. This is out of control. Where is Shaunie O'Neal? Shaunie need to be somewhere ashamed of herself. As if she don't got nothing to do with Basketball Wives. As if her name isn't on the goddamn executive producer credits. Girl, come and do something Christian. And then y'all wonder why people don't take the church seriously. How could we? How could I? How could thee? Now, speaking of, should be ashamed of themselves, Miss Doug is equally responsible for how tore up his family is. This is iconic little dick energy on Doug's part. Doug should be ashamed of his goddamn self. To be an entire man with means, to be a man, to be the husband and the father in this case, and based upon the way Takari, Chantel, and Jackie is set up, you wouldn't know that Jackie had a husband, and you wouldn't know that Takari and Chantel got a goddamn daddy. You would think what you watching is a single mother who raised her daughters in a single parent household. You cannot see any presence of Doug whatsoever. And I want to know why that is. I want to know, how is Doug able to have watched this play out for years? Tell-alls, season after season, the up and down, all that's going on behind the scenes, and you got to know that that's going on behind the scenes is worse than we seeing in front of the screen, because they're actually living this in real life. Where the fuck is Doug? On one hand, it doesn't surprise me that with Jackie being an alpha female and a personality B individual, because they look for simps. They look for weenie energy. They look for small weenie energy. They look for men who don't have a backbone, because they look for spaces they can easily triangulate and control. So the lower the self-esteem is, the lower the leadership is in a person, the lower the critical thinking skills is in a person, the more ideal those individuals become for predatory alpha narcissistic personality types like Jackie Christie. So I'm not surprised on one hand that her husband is a complete goddamn simp. But my God, today, like at some point, girl, how does not none of this just make you jump up out your damn suit and your tuxedo? You can successfully slam a ball through a hoop, but you can't slam successfully no healing into your family circle. You got girls who are now women who are accusing each other of molestation. You got a mother who's in the mix of all of this. Doug hears his daughter Chantel saying, yeah, go back to my dad and lie to him and lie to him and lie to him and lie to him and lie to him. He's literally seeing both sides playing out. He's literally getting to see what Chantel's experience is of her mother and her father and what Jackie's role is in this division amongst everybody. And are doing nothing. So I equally blame Doug for this implosion and this disaster that is his family. Somebody brought up last night that they believe that Jackie got some shit on Doug's ass. I wouldn't be surprised. Ain't Evelyn pulled up old ass mugshots and shit of Jackie selling coochie and shit, bitch? I don't know how many which ways some people done sold their souls to get to where the hell they is, baby. For all I know, they're probably a part of the goddamn Illuminati and Freemasons. It could be true. And what I do know, girl, is based upon, girl, ain't they had one anniversary or one ceremony, girl, where it was kind of like on some freak shit? Like, ain't they was supposed to like be put together some type of bondage type of shit? And then remember when Jackie was trying to spin the block on Malaysia, talking about, yeah, girl, we pretty much swingers, and you know, we be open to bringing a beautiful woman. Baby, I think Jackie done put a finger or four in Doug's ass. She done had Doug's feet to the ceiling. A lot of narcissistic women like Jackie eat ass. A lot of narcissistic women eat booty. Okay, that's one of the ways they alley-oop they men into like putting themselves in compromising positions so that they can have shit to say on Mad Day. Okay, narcissistic women love to emasculate they men in a lot of motherfucking ways so that they could have a full chamber. Okay, a full arsenal, girl. Okay, for when blackmail day come in, girl. Okay, when that goddamn kryptonite start to wear off, girl. Okay, don't forget, baby, that ass was tooted, dog. Okay, keep Doug ass in check, baby. Okay, so she gonna be eating that ass, baby. She gonna be putting them dildos in his ass, baby. Okay, that's her kryptonite on Doug ass. That's why Doug can't get up in this shit like he wants to, because he got too much shit up in him, literally. I believe it. I believe it. Okay? But Doug, baby, you and Jackie is going to go to hell. Y'all have both been enablers. Y'all have dropped the ball. And, baby, y'all got to look out of the 2 out of 3 kids y'all have as total receipts, baby, to the fact that something don't went awry and awry in the buttermilk. And it is a reflection of Jackie and Doug. It's a reflection. And I know a lot of men, they like to call themselves minding their business. That's not your job to mind your business as a father. Your job as a father is to father. That's your job. It's to father. There's no such thing as minding your business when your daughters and your wife are at odds together. Are at odds. None. Doug is in enough of an authoritative position because Doug is really the only thing that Jackie holds as a grand prize in her life. It's her marriage. My man, my man, my man, my man, my man, my man, my man. My man, my man, my man, my man, my man. So Doug has the power to bring Jackie to her knees and to humble her, to give her some ultimatums, to chin check her ass. Because at the end of the day, she's also a reflection of him. They're married. They're one. And I'm honestly a little bit more scared of Doug than I am of Christie, because baby, it's the quiet ones that I'm eyeing more than anything else, baby. See, Jackie wear her crazy on her sleeve. It's that quietness in Doug, baby, that's very scary. And it's very weird. Because based upon the way these women are acting, you would not have known that anybody had a daddy and that anybody else had a goddamn husband in this situation. It's given that Jackie has been the one to wear the pants. She's been the alpha and the omega. And Doug has been the indentured servant and the passive parent. He's been the one that has tried to stay intimately out of the issues while still being supportive of both. But sometimes, baby, you got to actually be in the middle. You can't compartmentalize. And this shit is way too injurious, and it's been way too violent. Doug needs to give Jackie ass some motherfucking ultimatums. Bitch, you cannot and you will not treat our children this way. Period. Period. It's the conversation. You will not treat our children this way. I'm not going to let you dishonor me, them, or yourself. This ain't what I signed up for. Michelle and Obama just had a conversation on her podcast about this same thing. How important it is to choose your partner because you're choosing your children's parent. It's bigger than you when you're choosing a partner for yourself. You're also choosing their parent. And baby, you got to take that all the way for real. And to task. And with all out seriousness. Jackie, Doug picked a wife, but he did not pick a mother. And that's where he dropped the ball at. When y'all thinking about starting a family and all of this shit and partnership, you can't just think about what you want in a partner. You got to think about what you want in the father or in the mother to your children to be. Doug knew that Jackie ass was crazy as hell. How the fuck he thought that crazy was not going to bleed over into the way that Jackie showed up as a mother is wild work. But a lot of people do it every motherfucking day. Every motherfucking day. I hold him equally responsible to this crazy between his wife and his children. He needs to be in the middle. He's the father. You got your fucking wife out here punching your daughter, and your daughter out here talking to your wife like she just a random ass hoe up off the side curb, up off the sidewalk. Ain't no silent support. You get your ass up in the shit. And you regulate. Doug is weak, and Doug is giving little weenie energy, and Doug should be ashamed of himself for choosing someone who could be a wife to him, because he's clearly satisfied with her as a wife, but he forgot to do the other math and choose someone who would make a great mother. And once he already saw what the situation looked like with Takari, that honestly should have put a brake pack on them bringing Dougie Jr. into the mix. No, ma'am, bitch. You're going to have to get yourself together. You're going to have to get your ass up in therapy, bitch, before we bring anybody else up into this shit, girl. We had to learn through a trial basis with Chantel. Then, baby, you completely shitted on Takari. Why the hell would we bring Dougie Jr. into the mix? For what? And for who? For what and for who? Now, bringing it back to Chantel before I close out my thoughts. Shaunie done dropped the ball. Doug done dropped the ball. He's equally responsible for this poisonous toxicity known as his family. Jackie is a complete fucking psycho. Okay? Could you imagine Jackie as a mother, considering who Jackie has been to these girls? Jackie has been a complete psychopath since she's been on Basketball Wives, girl. Could you imagine that as a mother, bitch? I can only, girl, it's probably a miracle that Chantel even remotely still deals with Jackie at this level. Remember how manipulative and deceptive and triangulating Jackie was in the earlier seasons of Basketball Wives LA? She was always playing both sides. She was being the agent of chaos, but then also trying to equally be the mediator girl. The bitch was literally a social psychopath. Social psychopath. That's exactly how Jackie has been in her daughters and in her daughters' relationships to their fathers. All this triangulating, putting people together, as Takari and both Chantel have testified to. But going back to Chantel, baby, you are not going to be able to, if you think your healing is going to come through your mama saying sorry, or your mama saying she was wrong, or your mother affirming your experience, baby, you're never going to heal. You're never going to heal. Chantel, you have got to mourn the mother that Jackie will never be. You got to mourn it. You've got to mourn and give yourself permission to grieve the fantasy that you're holding on to of your mother, because that's who you're fighting for when you're fighting with her. You're fighting for the fantasy of her. You're fighting for who you believe she can be. That's what is motivating you to invest your time and your energy. Is you're fighting for who you believe she can be. You're not going to be able to pull out of the Jackie Christie multiverse of crazy until you allow the hope and the fantasy and the dream of who the fuck you want her to be to die. You've got to kill her off in your mind, and you got to kill her off in your heart. Once you do that, once you grieve the mother you will never have, once you grieve the woman that Jackie will never be, once you completely allow your heart to break for that and because of that, only then will you know where to place her in your life. But as long as you are pursuing the fantasy of who she is, you are going to be at Jackie's mercy as much as you think she's at yours. She's not at yours. That's why she got you running behind her. You at her mercy. And she knows what you're holding on to. She's using your desire. She's using your hope and your wish against you and to control you. And the only way you're going to be able to restabilize and reground yourself and to disarm her ass is you've got to kill the very thing she's using, which is your hope and your fantasy. Once you kill that shit, you'll be able to set your motherfucking self free. You'll be able to have an array of options opened up to you, such as where you can deal with her. Because some people that you can't deal with in the hurt version of yourself, you can deal with in the healed version of yourself. Because when you healed, you got more resources available to you than when you're hurt and injured. There are people that I have right now. I have a tier category, you guys. It's called the people who are in my main emails, the people that I have in my spam folder, and then the people who are in the trash bin. The people who are in my main email category is my main community. The people in my spam folder are the people who are troubled or broken, have not grown, are kind of socially, emotionally, and mentally dangerous. But because I'm healed, I can deal with them in my own way. But because I can't deal with them fully and entirely, I put them in the spam category. You know, I deal with them accordingly on a need-be basis. They don't have to be necessarily completely disposed of, but I deal with the parts of them I can tolerate, and I disconnect from the toxic, raggedy parts of their asses, which really reduces our relationship to being part-time rather than full-time. And then there are the people who are so damaged, so reprobate, so indignant, so full of goddamn shit, so mentally and emotionally dangerous that I have to put their asses in the trash bin, baby. There could be never, in the words of Iyanla, baby, no type of engagement, no type of damn relationship, boo. Okay? You're literally stage 4 catsup and should be avoided at all time, girl. You are sugar diabetes, honey. You are high cholesterol, girl. No, ma'am. Not on any day, honey. You are mercury-filled fish. No, ma'am. Okay? So these are my social tier levels. The people who are in my main email, the people who are in my spam folder, and the people who are in the trash bin. When you're healed, there are bad people, problematic, weird-ass people in your life that you could not deal with at all when you were broken, but you can deal with in some capacity in the healed version of you. Once Chantel kills the fantasy and the hope of who her mother will never be, this will allow her now to be able to sit in that healed version of herself and to fully assess who her mom actually is and if there can be any place at all in her life for any part of Jackie Christie as she is. This is going to make Chantel's experience so much more lighter once she heals, because her mama will be able to be Jackie without now it costing Chantel. Chantel is costing Chantel every time she deals with Jackie now because she's invested in Jackie. Because Chantel is invested in her fantasy of Jackie. This is going to remove a great deal of weight from her. But she's going to have to embark upon that soul salvation independently. That's not something Jackie can give to her. And this is something that I really hate for a lot of people, particularly a lot of Americans, because we have really brought into the propaganda that our soul salvation is really tied into another motherfucker's apology, another motherfucker's omission and confession, and it's not. And because of this type of thinking, this is what leads to a lot of people chasing behind a closure that was always available to them the whole time, but that they never end up getting because they were taught that their closure was in the other person rather than within themselves. You do not need the person that hurt you to also to be the person that participates in your healing. Your healing is not tied to a single individual, and the Lord would never trap you in that way. By putting your salvation and your sense of self and peace in the hands of another person. The Lord would never set you up that way. Now, you may choose that bondage. You may choose those emotional shackles. You may choose those mental shackles. You may choose those fraudulent ideologies and philosophies to follow. But that is not, in fact, the way the Lord would ever set you up. The Lord made you so free that you can also choose bondage and imprisonment if you want. You are so free that you can choose captivity. You can choose depression. You can choose that. That's how free you are. Your healing is not tied to another motherfucker. I don't care what they did. I don't care how heinous the crime is. You will never need them in your self-therapy and in your self-healing. The only time the role a person plays is important is if y'all are going to embark upon a relationship. Oh, yeah. In order for us to be in a functional, high-functional, productive relationship, I need to be well and you need to be well. But, bitch, I don't need you to heal. You cheated, I don't need you to heal. I don't need you to heal. You did me wrong, I don't need you to heal. Every experience can be reconciled through self. This is what God was doing on the cross in Christ, reconciling the world through Christ. Not through other people's behaviors, not through other human beings' actions, reconciling the world unto itself. This is what true empowerment is. And if more people understood that, there would be a lot more people freer today than they are. There would have been a lot of people that would have been able to clean up a lot of shit sooner than later. There would have been so many people who would have been able to go to the grave free, who would have been able to claim their lives, who would have been able to reshape their lives, redeem their lives. But because people are taught that this mess that somebody else made in your soul is their job to clean up, motherfuckers walk around hoarding all this damage in themselves and not doing anything about it because they're taught that the person who made the mess is supposed to come back and clean up the mess. When you literally do not apply that line of thinking in no other area of your life. If I got in your car right now and spilled an extra large McDonald's strawberry milkshake all over your dashboard, all over your seating, all over your carpet, and then I got my ass out and went on about my business, are you not going to clean up that milkshake just because I made the mess? If I come into your house and knock over a glass vase and it shatters all over your damn floor and I choose to leave, are you just not going to clean up that damn glass on your floor in your house because I put it there? No. So this is the way you have to understand your responsibility and burden in your own recovery and in your own healing. Yes, two things can be true at the same time. Somebody else did this to me, and I also got to clean it up because the damage happened in me. The damage happened in my house, in my soul. So no matter who did it, I got to clean it up because it happened to me. And I really can't believe that a lot of people are really walking around just storing up all of this hurt and hell in themselves and waiting for daddy and mama and sister and ex-husband and ex-wife and ex-best friend to come back and say something and do something that finally gives them permission to set themselves fucking free. Why would you ever put your freedom in another motherfucker's hands in that way? Why are you waiting for someone to come and get you? Why are you waiting for someone to come and save you? Why are you waiting for someone to come and recover you? Why are you waiting for someone to come and doctor you? When all that is in you. Your nurse, your doctor, your surgeon, your hospital, the tools, the Lord has provided all things unto you and in you, around you, as you, so that you can live an abundant life. Your healing is yours. No matter who initially is responsible for the scarring, for the injury, for the accident. This is why the scriptures say, let every man or woman work out his or her own soul salvation. And then y'all wonder why apologies hardly work anyway. A motherfucker done apologize to their blue in the face. They done explain to their blue in the face. They done taking full responsibility, and you still want to go Dark Phoenix. You still want to go full apocalypse because the healing ain't in the apology. The healing ain't in the acknowledgement. The healing ain't in the affirmation from another. We don't like the fact that we have to do the work because of some shit somebody else motherfucking did. But baby, you gotta make a choice. To live for that pain, bitch, or to live for your joy. And let me tell you the cold, hard, ugly, brutal, devastating truth about life is that, baby, we be so toe up, we be so upside down, we be so out of our body and out of ourselves about the shit that another motherfucker is going to bed well about. I can remember a decade ago the distinct moment that I realized that that the world don't give a fuck. That the people that are hurting you, exploiting you, using you, devastating you, have no clue and no F's to give. Have no situational awareness, have no damage awareness, and are skipping a loo along their life while you upside down somewhere ready to go full fucking nuclear. Once I realized that in the moments that I end up truly hurt, that I'm the only person actually bothered while the world is continuing to spin, baby, I finally start spinning with the motherfucking world. I start majoring and finding my exit out of that goddamn hurt rather than finding my bed to lay in and all that motherfucking misery, baby. No ma'am, bitch. What's gonna motivate my ass being happy is seeing your black ass happy, bitch. You went and did this shit to me and you done went on into your motherfucking happiness, and I'm gonna go into mine too, bitch. I started allowing the smile that are on the villain's face to also be the smile on my motherfucking face, baby. If you ain't crying about this shit, bitch, I ain't crying either. You ain't whining about it, bitch, I ain't whining either, honey. You ain't somewhere hurt and toe up about what you did to me, bitch, and I ain't gonna be nowhere hurt and toe up either about what you did to me, bitch. You gonna skip a loo, I'm gonna skip a loo. Girl, I see you, you see me, we see each other, baby. We both gonna be skipping, bitch. Bitch, we both gonna be shaking ass in front of the deli, bitch. That's our work. And you having to clean up what somebody else did to you doesn't take that person off the hook. It just means that you're not willing to die by fire because of what someone else did. It just means that you have enough respect and love for yourself to not make an identity out of somebody else's behavior and treatment of you. See, healing yourself is an act of self-love and self-care. It doesn't mean nobody did nothing wrong. It doesn't mean nobody was the bad guy. It doesn't mean that you're letting the other person off the hook. But when you give a full damn about yourself and you come to terms that you only got one motherfucking life to live and that you the only one crying the blues, boo, you the only one crying rhythm and blues and rhythms, you care less, baby. You care less about what has happened and more about what could happen, which is your better day. If your town got flooded right now, bitch, and you were sitting on the roof of your house and there was nothing else surrounding you but a body of ocean water, when that helicopter, when that rescue chopper comes, that powerful moment of relief, that powerful moment of, oh my God, that powerful moment of thank God I'm being saved, that's what you master in. Fuck what has happened, bitch. How the fuck do I get up out this shit is the better question. How do I rescue myself out of these unfortunate circumstances? Your hope is what becomes your inspiration. Your hope is what becomes your testimony, what becomes your storyline arc. Not the injury, not the behavior, not the actions, not the neglect, not the infidelity, not the betrayal, not the knots. And I'm at that big old age now where, bitch, I'm not willing to cry no more about what nobody else ain't crying about either. You good, I'm good. So both Takari and Chantel are going to have to heal on their own. Jackie may die, the woman who will never affirm their children, who may never affirm her kids and say, y'all are not crazy. I was dead wrong. I was a psychopath. I was hell on wheels. And I sit at your feet and beg of you of your forgiveness. Of your forgiveness. I was not a well woman. And therefore I wasn't and couldn't be a well mother. Forgive me for the mother I never was. Forgive me for the woman I could not be. Forgive me. That's what Chantel and both Takari are holding as a point of attraction. They may never get that. They're going to have to be able to forge ahead in the power of their optimism and their joy and the grace that God gave them to begin again, because they're grown now. They can carve out their own paths. Now they have more customizable options at their hands because they are adults. And I hope that they don't allow Jackie to be the center of their story anymore, and that they give themselves permission to now make this about them. Chantel thinks she's in this place, but she's not. That's why she don't have no power. She didn't have a power to find the door. She didn't have a power to have another storyline, to have another story arc. She didn't have the power to stop chasing for something that she's not going to be able to get from Jackie by way of badgering her, by way of pressuring her, by way of chasing her. There's nothing low enough for Chantel to say that's going to be able to get what she thinks she needs from Jackie. They're going to have to let her go, emotionally and mentally. They're going to have to dead it in themselves. Okay. I feel complete. Hey, Walking Truth. She said, if you haven't crossed the joy today, baby, something wrong. He preached that word. Hey, DJ. Hey, y'all. All right. I gave y'all a word, baby. I worked for y'all today, child. Okay? This is what I do, baby. I bring the news. I bring the word. I bring the wisdom. I bring the laughs. I bring it all, child. This is what the king does for y'all. Okay? I'm complete. I'm thinking, do we not need a town hall meeting? Do we need to drop that link? You know? Y'all know, y'all can show some love to the king, baby, because y'all got me in my bag, honey. Do I need to drop the link or are we complete? Because we do have other things to get into, child. Okay? So that was my assessment. I told y'all I was probably going to have to come back and get into my Iyanla bag because, you know, I was just initially shocked and just here for the shits and giggles. When we first reported on this, I said, you know, I'm going to have to come back, you know, and really get into my higher mind, child, about this whole situation, baby, because this is a piece of work, child. It's a piece of work. How many of y'all want the link? Because I know that y'all like to talk, baby. Y'all long-winded ass people, child. Because if enough of y'all need the link, I'll come back and start another stream so y'all can pop off and sound off about all of this. How many of y'all want the link? Do y'all want me to start up another show? Let me know in the chat. Okay. I see Roomba saying drop. Homebody say drop. Okay. I'm going to come back. We're going to do an open panel. I'm going to let y'all have it, and y'all can sound off and pop off, baby, and get into all the things. So I'll be right back. If you enjoyed yourself, you guys, please give me a Cash App or a PayPal. All information below. Send me all the tea to Consciouztv. Sign up for Patreon, Instagram, the whole nine. Share the stream out. Subscribe if you're new here. I love y'all. And I will see y'all in 5 minutes, baby. We're going to come back, and I'm going to drop the link and let y'all pop off. All right? See y'all.